You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme is brought to you by AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and TOVI Hockey. In tonight's edition of the show, we look ahead to the MFHL Finals. Was going to have Freddie Nelson join the show, but we weren't able to connect tonight, so he will not be on this edition of the show. If you guys checked out our social media pages where we posted the guest list, he was listed on there, but just wasn't able to work out. But I will be having two members from one of the finalists. Maybe they'll be champions. We haven't started the MFHL finals yet, but it's of the Winnipeg Ice. I'm going to be speaking to head coach Eugene Kaminsky, as well as Ava Bergman later on in the show, one of their players, one of their forwards and assistant captains. But Eugene, head coach of the team, the Winnipeg Ice, is going to be coming on the show first to just talk about the finals run this team has been on, the road to the finals, as well as the journey along the way. And we're also going to, I'll be also asking Eugene about the upcoming finals matchup his team has, which they start the game one of that series tomorrow against the Westman Wildcats. So should be a lot of fun here on tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. First up with bench boss of the Winnipeg Ice AAA team in the MFHL, Eugene Kaminsky, here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV. And there he is, Eugene Kaminsky, joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme. Coach, your team off to the finals. It's been a long time since playoffs have returned in the league, and first year back into the playoffs. This group of girls, along with this entire team, off to the finals. Congratulations. Obviously a lot more work to be done to be able to go out and try to beat this Westman Wildcats team. But what was that feeling like, being able to make it past the semifinals into the finals this season?
That was definitely one of the highlights, obviously, of this season, and probably one of the highlights I've been able to experience in 4 years of the program. We were able to go up against one of the, probably not just maybe one of the top teams in this province, but conceivably probably one of the top teams in the country. And we were a fourth seed going up against the number one seed, and I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't think we were going to come away with victories. You believe you can, you believe in your team and the whole bit, but when you look at everything on paper, it didn't look good for us. But to be fair, I have huge pride in the girls and what they were able to accomplish. It was a great feeling. That fifth game is probably one of the best feelings I think I know we've had as a team all year, and probably one of the best ones I've had as a coach for sure.
It seems like this group is special to be able to beat a team like the Winnipeg Avros in the semifinals. Like you said, one of the top teams, not only in the province, the top team in the province, but also one of the top teams in the country. Just what do you think it's come down to, just this group being able to find a way time and time again this season for them to be able to have this type of success making it to the finals?
Well, it's one of the things we talked about, actually, and my assistant coach and Jess talked about after the game. She said this series was not won on this day, on this fifth day of this game. A lot was done in October, November, what they did, what they sacrificed, and what they were able to commit to us as coaches and believe in us as coaches. And we believed in them as players, and they grew and grew as a team. As we got throughout the season, we found where our errors were. We saw where we needed to get better, and it just basically accumulated to where we got into the playoffs. And when we got there, it was just the sacrifice that each player made within each shift in each game. When you're seeing your captain, Maya Emons, who's blocking shots, back checking hard, being very physical in the corners, going toe to toe with players. That just inspires a lot of the players. Like, a lot of people may look at the stat sheet after that game and say, well, geez, I only had one goal. But if you watch the games, you can really see how her impact was to the game and all the little things she did. And in that final game, she got 3 assists, and she could have had a couple more goals as well. But that's one aspect. And then all the other players were blocking shots. They were stepping in, they were going hard, they were becoming more physical. And that just indicated that we were playing as a team. And that was the key thing for us. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think that was a key reason why we came away with the victory.
Even dating back to just before that semifinal series against the Winnipeg Avros, this team ended up going against the Pembina Valley Hawks, ended up sweeping them, but the games got closer and closer as it went along. Just being able to have that confidence for a group with some new talent on it with, the new girls that you brought in, to be able to have this series to kick things off, being able to go to OT in one of them must have been kind of nice to see that as a coach, to not only have games like that, but to see the girls come away with the wins in all 3 of those victories.
Yeah, and it's when you look back, and as what we always do is we talked about what are we going to learn from this experience, and what did we learn from that period, what did we learn from that game. And then we talked about what did we learn from that series and with Pembina Valley. And it started out relatively easy. The first game was pretty easy. Second game got a lot closer. We were down a couple goals, and we had to come back and fight, and we got back to the lead. And then the final game, we were down again 2 goals, and we did not look good. Our girls had to really step up their game, and we got a couple of key goals from some players, forced it to an overtime. And like you said, we were able to come away with that win. And that was, I think that was probably a good indication to me at that point right there, that this is a team that is not prepared to give up or quit. And we saw that in the Avro series as well. There were opportunities for them to just shut the door and say, okay, well, it doesn't look like it's going to be our day, and then just walk away from it. But that wasn't the case. And what we learned from Pembina Valley helped us really evolve into a strong, cohesive team going against the Avros.
Well, in this series against the Avros, this team got outshot in every single one of the games. Obviously, coming away with the 5-game series winning in the 5th game 5-3 to go through to the finals. But just the play of rookie goaltender this season, and Laura Melissa, I mean, she was outstanding in that series against the Avros. Talk about just how impressive it's truly been to watch her from behind the bench.
Well, here's a perfect example of a player who just grew into the position as the season went on. I think when we had a conversation earlier in the year about our team, and some of the question marks we talked about was goaltending. And I think I would be, again, deceiving you if I was to say that I was very confident going into the season with the 2 rookie goalies that we had coming in. But as the season went on, both developed very strong and became very confident for us, and had some key wins for us. And then we got closer to the playoffs. We could see Laura was really starting to emerge as a very confident goalie. Not too many soft goals were going in on her. She was giving us a chance to win. And yeah, we were a team, again, a young team that was giving up a lot of shots. And that was seen in the Avro situation. And so we relied upon Laura quite a bit as a grade 10 player, like put in that environment against quality shooters and a quality team, pressure situation. Yeah. You know what? Did not faze her. I was really impressed with who she was in those games, because she didn't give me any indication that she felt she was being overwhelmed. She had control the whole time, and I think that just goes deep for you as a goaltender.
Yeah, and the most notable thing that sticks out to me from this season from Melissa was the only game that we got to see you guys playing live here on the network was that game against Pembina Valley, making big save after big save. And it's just crazy with her being as young as she is, only grade 10, what is up next for her coming up throughout her career here in the MFHL with the Winnipeg Ice. For this team, I mean, being able to beat the Avros, not having as many shots as them in these 5 games, of course, but just seeing this team, their ability to be opportunistic, taking advantage of their opportunities to be able to beat this Winnipeg Avros team.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, yeah, we were being outshot in as many games, and The interesting thing was, if you go back over a lot of these games, it was basically one period that the Winnipeg Avros would dominate us. And if I think back to game one, they had like over 20 shots in the first period alone. And then we were able to settle down after that. And again, what we talked about is, what did we learn from that first period? What do we need to do different? And the next two periods, it was basically even hockey. And then game two, same thing. It was even hockey until the third period, when we had a 3-1 lead, and the Avros just came on crazy. And I guarantee you it was over 20 shots again in that period. And we held on for that, and got a very vital overtime goal by Ava. And then it was always the same thing. And then after that, everything seemed to settle down, and we were able to manage the pucks coming to the net. So, yeah, it was gave up a lot of shots. It's not something you want to do. But, again, we learned from it. We talked about it, and we talked about in practices how we're going to improve upon it and what we're going to do when the pucks are at the net.
When the final game of that Avro series ended, obviously a lot of celebrations within the team, knowing that you guys have made it to the finals, a place where this program hasn't been since its return, and just really in its history. Just talk about what your message was, though, to the girls after the game in the dressing room, looking ahead to the finals at that point against the Westman Wildcats.
Well, just one small correction for you, Graeme. In the last year, it had COVID not gone, it would have been us and the Avros in the finals.
Right.
Sorry,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, so no.
Yes.
It's a long time ago, so I even forget that myself. But exactly, like we talked about it, that was a big game for us. And going into the finals now, it really, to me, I can't say enough about the players and what they've worked so hard to do. And a lot of players do in the league, don't get me wrong, but when you're connected with these individuals and what they've committed and sacrificed to see them have that opportunity to play in the finals is really special, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess this time this group of girls will actually be able to play in the finals rather than 2019, 2020, when, yes, I can't believe I forgot about that, because it's been mentioned so many times that this group, this club ended up making it to the finals and were set to go up against the Winnipeg Avros, but it didn't happen due to COVID. But now looking ahead to Westman, the third place team in the league, you guys were close behind them in the standings, but ended up getting fourth place. There were times where it looked like maybe this Ice team could have jumped Westman for that third place spot near the end of the season, but both teams looking really good in the playoffs, matching up against each other. Just talk about how you feel this group that you guys have, that this Winnipeg Ice team has, can match up against this Westman team in the finals.
It's really interesting with Westman. When we came into the league, it seemed like year by year our teams were very similar in many respects. The number of veterans we would have had, how many rookies we would have had, even the style of game that we played in certain positions. And this year's no different. I think they have 3 grade 12s, we have 4 grade 12s, and a lot of them, we have a lot of young players. Their style of hockey is very similar to our style of hockey, very aggressive on the forechecks, be very opportunistic. They're very sound defensively. Guy Williams does a fantastic job coaching that team. We've had some great conversations about, philosophies of coaching, and we're thinking a lot of, and we're both on the same page, work on the skills, develop the individual. If you develop the individual, the team will just naturally grow as you see it. And we believe the same thing. And so you're going to see a team that has some really good individual skills, but play very well together. And I think that's one of the things I think we're very proud of our team as well. We've got a lot of good players that have some really good skill, but they're willing to play together for sure.
In terms of that coaching matchup, I mean, you and your staff have gone up against Dana Bell and his staff, as well as Ashley Van Aglen and her staff. Now getting Guy Williams, a coach that's been able to bring this team to a championship and finals before that. How excited are you to go toe-to-toe against him in that aspect of the coaching side of things in these upcoming games in this championship series?
It's really interesting getting to know their team really well, and it's easy but hard at the same time. When we went up against Dana and Pembina Valley, We knew who some of their key players were, so we had our line matchups, so we were able to limit them as much as we can. And same thing with Avros. We were able to put who we wanted. We knew where their danger spots were with their number one lines with Collins and Bays and Weisner. And we were able to limit them and their success as much. With Westman, this is not a slight in any way, but they're even throughout. They don't have one line that's necessarily just going to dominate you. They have three lines that you have to coach against. And so the nice thing about that for us, we don't necessarily have to worry about those matchups. It's whoever's coming out, you're going to be playing against a good line. They don't have a weak line. They don't have weak D. You're not going to take advantage of some inexperience back there. Again, very well coached, great defense back there. And it's just going to be a matter of creating those turnovers, finding an opportunity to get that puck to the net again. And they got Glover in net, who is probably the best goalie in the league. You're going to have to try to find a way to get puck past her, and that's going to be a challenge for sure.
What's the preparation been like? Obviously, finals starting tomorrow, but the preparation, leading up to the game one, what's it been like this week for the team getting prepared for this Westman Wildcats team in the finals?
Well, if I'm going to be honest with you, Graeme, it's been the worst. We've had a few head colds. We had girls that were missing practices. We weren't able to really execute a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do. So we did have a couple of practices, but we didn't have full squads. And it was very difficult to run some of those practices, but we were able to do some stuff. So going in, we're going to see what's going to happen. I think this game is going to be more of an indication of the players and less about what we were able to do to prepare them. We've talked about a few things, and we'll talk about a few things when we get out to Hartney on what we can look for and what we can try to take away. But at the end of the day, like I said, we had 2 practices this week, and I wouldn't suggest they were great practices in any way. But it is what it is. I'd rather have that opportunity than not be able to have the opportunity to have a couple of bad practices and go to Hartney.
Well, we'll have to see what happens when the games start up. Game one going tomorrow at Hartney. The Winnipeg Ice looking for their first championship in their franchise history, making it to the finals, not for the first time, but for the second time in the club's history. So Eugene Kaminsky, head coach of the Winnipeg Ice AAA team in the MFHL. Always a pleasure, Eugene. I love what you're wearing tonight, repping the Ice swag as you talked about it before we went live. Always great to have you on the show, and best of luck to you, the whole group of girls on the ice coming into this finals matchup against the Westman Wildcats.
Thank you very much, Graeme. And obviously thank you to you and the whole program for taking an interest in the league. It really helps us out for sure.
Of course, Eugene. It's always entertaining talking about the MFHL. We'll probably see each other soon.
I hope so. Take care.
Take care. And Eugene Kaminsky, head coach of the Winnipeg Ice, joining the show here on this Thursday night. The Winnipeg Ice getting set to play in their championship series tomorrow against the Westman Wildcats, game one in Hartney. And speaking of the Winnipeg Ice, coming up next, I'm going to be talking to one of their assistant captains, number 16 forward on this team, in Ava Bergman. Stick around for that coming up after the commercial break. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5-EVOLVE. Or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to ASTV Productions coverage here. Coffee with Graeme is the show you are watching here on ASTV Productions on this Thursday night. March almost done here. Pretty sure on Tuesday it'll be the second last March show of the year, which is crazy. Yeah, it's just nuts how time flies here, and it's crazy how we're already almost at the conclusion of this year's MFHL season. It's been a very exciting playoffs. Round number 2, the semifinals, saw 2 upsets. In terms of the seeding, the Avros and the Chiefs, the both top teams in the league in terms of the Avros being first place, the Chiefs being second place, of course, Westman being able to beat the Yellowhead Chiefs in 4 games, and the Ice being able to beat the Avros in 5. And it'll be a Winnipeg and Westman Wildcats final again. Last time Westman faced a Winnipeg team was back in the finals, was back in 2018-19, where they were able to defeat the Winnipeg Avros. This time around, they get the Winnipeg Ice. And yeah, I've been waiting for Ava Bergman. Next guest I'm going to have here on the show. She's now in the broadcast studio. We're going to bring her in right now. She's number 16, assistant captain, a forward of the Winnipeg Ice. And here she is now, Ava Bergman, joining this edition of the show. Ava, congratulations first off to you and the team making it to the finals, being able to beat the Pembina Valley Hawks and Winnipeg Avros. Finals starting off tomorrow. Just got to ask, how does it feel to be one of the top 2 teams remaining in the league here?
It's definitely rewarding. The Avros is a really good team, and it's rewarding to beat them and to make the finals. Yeah.
No, and that's your guys' biggest rival, right? Being the other Winnipeg team. Obviously, there's probably some friendships within the team, but how crazy was that series? I mean, they go up 1-0. You girls take a 2-1 series lead. They tie it up at 2 apiece in the series with a 3-0 win, and you girls are able to bring it home with a 5-3 win. Just talk about how crazy that series really was.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking when we heard we were playing the Avros. And they took it game 1, and then we got back game 2 in overtime, double overtime. And then the next game we won, and then they took it back in game 3. And then game 5 was definitely stressful. But yeah, we ended up winning 5-3, and the whole team worked hard to get there, and it's definitely rewarding.
Well, I know Eugene, I had a conversation with him shortly after you guys made it through in terms of which player I wanted to bring on. And he said it was actually the other night he suggested you to come on as a guest because you scored some big goals in this past series. Was it true that you scored the overtime winning goal in that game 2 as well as the 5th goal in that game 5?
Yeah.
So how cool has it been for yourself to just be able to have these type of big moments coming up big for your team in the playoffs?
It definitely feels good. I mean, our whole team has worked hard to get to where we are, And for me, just to like get some important goals, it's definitely feels good when the whole team is there to cheer you on.
And this season, this was a team with a lot of new pieces coming in. 10 new players were added to this year's squad. What's it been like just throughout the season from the very start of it up until now, just getting to bond with this group of girls going through this journey?
They're all super nice girls, and we have improved so much as a team and just being able to play together and our chemistry as a team. And it is definitely improved from day one. And they're all very nice people.
You're an assistant captain on this year's team. What was that like, getting that honor of being able to wear a letter?
It was great. I love leading and being like a positive image for the team and just being able to be there and supporting them.
Talk about the impact that these rookies have had on the team this season. Obviously, 2 rookie goaltenders. Laura Melissa has been great. Stephanie Jacob up front. 10 new girls on this year's team. Talk about their impact, what it's truly been like on not only the ice, but also in the dressing room as well.
Yeah, like I said, they're all great people, and we have some strong like new players this year, and both our goaltenders are new, and they're both great. And yeah, we have a lot of key players that are new this year, and that we're lucky to have them.
For yourself, along with all the girls in the league, finally getting to get back to some normal, playing a full season of hockey. How nice was that? Being able to go through a full season without this darn COVID-19 pandemic getting in the way.
It was definitely exciting. This was my first full year of AAA, and to make it to the finals in kind of like your first full year, it's definitely exciting. And yeah, it's been very fun.
You put up 23 points in 28 games. Obviously, you're going to point to the team being able to contribute to your success. But from an individual aspect of things, just talk about how nice it was for yourself to have this type of impact on the team on the score sheet this year.
It was nice. It's kind of just being in the right place at the right time. And yeah, the team obviously helped me get there. But yeah, it's nice.
And you just spoke about something being in the right place at the right time. Does that go into kind of the type of player you are, just being good, having a good hockey IQ out there, knowing where to go, being in the right places? Would you say hockey IQ is maybe one of the strongest parts of your game?
Yeah, I think so. Just kind of having a sense of where everyone is and where you need to be, and just the timing of it is definitely important.
Speak about who you were able to play with this year. Did you jump from line to line quite a bit, or were the lines pretty much consistent throughout the season?
They were overall, they didn't change that much. Recently for the playoffs, I've been playing with Maya Eamon and Haley Braun, and they have been a huge factor to my goals and just like our goals as a team, just working hard and then just like finding our teammates and line mates in the right spots and being able to get goals.
Yeah, and for you girls, I mean, Mai Eamon, she's tied for the lead in playoff points right now with 13, along with Nora Collins for the Avros, who's at 13. You, for yourself, you got 11 points in these 8 playoff games, and Haley Braun is in the top 10 as well with 10 points in 8 games. Obviously, you girls are able to produce at a pretty high level out there. Talk about how you girls are able to play out there as a line, being as effective as you girls have been throughout this postseason.
Yeah, I mean, like they're both great players and they also have great hockey IQ and just like being in the right place at the right time and working hard. The work effort is great and it just kind of all clicks together and we just work great together, I think, and that just creates a lot of chances for our team.
Got to ask you this question. Obviously, with newer players coming in, with you being looked at as one of the leaders on this team, how have you felt like you've been able to handle that responsibility, is being looked up to by some of the younger players on this team and having that responsibility of having a letter out there?
Yeah, I think you just like as a person, as a leader, you just got to work hard and be positive and encourage other people, and that will get you places.
Going into the finals now, you girls matching up against the Westman Wildcats. What's the preparation been like for this team? I know that Eugene came on here and spoke about how he wasn't too really pleased with the practices this team has had this week coming up, but from the player aspect of things, what have you girls been working on getting prepared to face off against this Westman Wildcats team in the finals?
Yeah, they're a strong team as well, and just kind of getting in the right mindset and just preparing ourselves for, like, yeah, we beat the Avros, but we still need to go out there and keep going with our team effort and just keep giving it our all and just really having that work effort through the whole game.
Of course, the finals starting up tomorrow. It's almost here. It's on the eve of the finals starting. How have the nerves been for you and for the rest of the team throughout this whole week, knowing that finals are coming up here soon?
I think we're all definitely nervous, but definitely excited to be here. And yeah, just really excited to get it going and seeing how the first game goes. It's exciting.
What's going to be the biggest focus, I guess, for the team heading into this first game and this first game of the series against the Westman Wildcats?
I think just to go out there and be strong and to not let down, or if they score, to not get down on ourselves and just keep going throughout the whole game.
Right. Well, it's going to be a very exciting finals here. Ava Bergman, one of the key players to the Winnipeg Ice's success this playoff run, joining me on tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Ava, thanks for taking the time. Best of luck to you and the girls in the finals here coming up against Westman.
Thank you.
You take care. Almost cut her off there. Ava Bergman. Well, I guess I did cut her off. Great to have her on the show here tonight. Number 16, assistant captain of the Winnipeg Ice. And this Winnipeg Ice team back in the finals, their second time as a program into the finals since they've come back as well. So this time around, it's nothing in the way of stopping it. No COVID-19 pandemic to stop it. It's going to be all systems go come tomorrow in Hartney. And coming up next, I'm going to be showing you all the upcoming schedule for the championship series in the MFHL for the Winnipeg Ice and the Westman Wildcats. Stick with me, as not only will I go through the MFHL, what's coming up there in the playoffs, but as well as taking a look at the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, how the playoffs have been shaping up since the last time that I've talked about them, or I guess just looking forward ahead to what's on tap for those playoffs coming up, as well as talking about the MMJHL playoffs, which is the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League, as well as talking about the upcoming games for the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Everybody stick around for a league report after this commercial break. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Ava Bergman, number 16, forward assistant captain for the Winnipeg Ice, just joined me on this edition of the show. Thanks to her for coming on tonight, as well as her head coach, and Eugene Kaminsky. Tried to get some Westman Wildcats, a Westman Wildcats player on the show, as well as Guy Williams tonight, but I'm hoping to speak to the Westman Wildcats coming up next week on the show on Tuesday to get their thoughts from the opening games, whatever happens in the MFHL coming up in the playoffs this weekend coming up in that championship series. And as mentioned before the commercial break, it's time for this edition of League Report. By the way, Freddie Nelson not joining tonight's edition of the show, hoping to get him on next week as well to talk about the MFHL, the playoffs, what's been going down since the last time that me and him have talked, so stay tuned for that. That could be potentially happening, but It is time for League Report, everybody. Of course, League Report here on the network, something that I like to do at the end of every episode. We are going to go into the schedule here in the MFHL, and before we do that, there's already an award that has been given out in this league, and that is to the MVP, the most valuable player. It's going to top goal scorer in the league from this past season in Nora Collins. So we're going to share the screen here. Make this a bit wider. Guess not. Sorry, folks. But yeah, there you have it. Most valuable player for this 2021-2022 MFHL season. Not really a surprise here. Nora Collins, she absolutely dominated the league offensively this year with her 54 points, setting an MFHL single season record with 37 goals. And she also had 17 assists. Congratulations to Nora Collins on winning this year's MFHL league MVP. More of the awards will be announced throughout time as it goes along here in the MFHL. But let's get into the upcoming schedule here for the championship series. And it all starts tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. at Hartney. Game 1 of this year's MFHL championship. Winner moves on to have a chance to play in the SO Cup, as they'll be taking on the winner of the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Game 2, as you can see here, will be going on Sunday, so these two teams will have a day to rest before going at it again. And that game will be Game 2, of course. Game 2, the lower ranked team gets the home ice there, so it will be played at the Bell MTS Iceplex. And just taking a look at the most notable players here in terms of the point leaders for both of these teams coming in. Of course, you're looking at for the Winnipeg Ice, and she's been phenomenal throughout her whole career and is having a heck of a postseason. And Maya Eamon, 13 points in 8 games played this playoffs, 4 goals, 9 assists. And just taking a look at the assist leader, she has the most assists right now, so she's making her teammates look good, of course. But that whole line for the Winnipeg Ice in Ava Bergman, who was just on the show, 11 points in 8 games played, as well as Haley Braun, number 17, 10 points in 8 games played. For the Westman Wildcats, well, it's been players like Callie Rice and Brooklyn Franklin that have been leading the way for them. Franklin having 9 points in 7 games played. Callie Rice having 11 points in 7 games played. Moving into the goaltenders here in terms of the wins, well, looking at it, it is Grace Glover, who has the best record out of any goaltender in the league at this point in the playoffs. 6 wins, only 1 loss, 2 shutouts at that. You take a look at her numbers, her save percentage, a .935 save percentage, and looking at her goals against average, a 1.52 goals against average. And Laura Melissa, she's been phenomenal as well. 5-2, one of those wins coming in OT. No shutouts for her, but she has a save percentage of .939 and a goals against average of .236. So it will be a treat for fans in attendance to get a look at not only the players up front that I mentioned, but as well as talking about the goaltenders here, getting to watch these two goaltenders go at it, in Grace Glover and Laura Melissa. With the probability of them both starting all their games here in the finals, barring something unexpected. But now let's move into the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. And taking a look at the schedule here for the playoffs. And the teams in the league have not played games since Sunday. And for the Notre Dame Hounds, they are up 2-0 right now on the Saskatoon Stars. Saskatoon made it a close game too, but Notre Dame was just a bit too good in that one. For the Swift Current Wildcats and Regina Rebels, Regina coming in as the number 2 team in the league in this series. Swift Current is the number 3 team in the league in the standings. Regina took game 1 4-1. Swift Current took game number 2 in double overtime. this past Sunday on the network. So tonight at 8 p.m. Saskatchewan time. So this game will be starting up in about 20 minutes is when the puck will drop at the Cooperators Center in Regina. It's the Regina Rebels going up against the Swift Current Wildcats in game number 3 of this series. Winner goes up 2-1. And for sure, there will be a game between these two teams coming up on the network on Sunday night at 7:45 p.m. Saskatchewan time at Fairview Arena. And for the Notre Dame Hounds, they have a chance to close out their series and make it into the finals, moving into the finals if they are able to beat the Saskatoon Stars tomorrow. The game will be played at the Duncan McNeil Arena. If Saskatoon is able to extend the series, then game number 3 or game number 4 will be going on Monday night at 7 p.m. Saskatchewan time. And if it's able to go a game 5, they will be playing on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Saskatchewan time. And for the Regina Rebels and Swift Current Wildcats, they would be playing coming up here on Wednesday night at 7:45 p.m. Saskatchewan time, if that series does go to the distance to 5 games. Let's take a look at the stats leaders so far here in the playoffs. So far it is Ali Gerard and Alexis Petford leading the way in the playoffs. Ali Gerard with the most points in the playoffs out of anybody at this point, 11 points in 5 games played. Alexis Petford right behind her with 10 points. You can see Greta Henderson there as well. So the top 3 being Regina. Kira Buziak is 4th in points with 8 in the playoffs, and Ashley Grace is 5th with 7 points in the playoffs. Taking a look, and Grace playing for Regina, Buziak playing for Saskatoon. Taking a look at the goalie stats here as well. Into the playoffs, it has been Peyton Schlamp who has the most wins, second, and there's a 3-way tie for second with 2 wins. Is Carly Leonard and Aurora Van Warmer of the Swift Current Wildcats, Tora Ward of the Saskatoon Stars with a 2-1 record. All 3 of the top goaltenders here with save percentages of over 900 here, as you can see, and also looking at their goals against averages too. Peyton Schlamp, the only goaltender with a goals against average of over 3. Aurora Van Warmer getting pretty close there with a goals against average of only of 2.95. Moving into the MMJHL now. And if you guys want to check out the MMJHL, be sure to visit them at mmjhl.ca. That's their website. But yeah, the semifinals are set here. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club was able to knock off the St. Vital Junior Victorias in overtime. I heard it was double overtime, but it's only showing 1 overtime here. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club in that game, as you can see, ended up coming back in that 3rd period to tie it at 2 when the Vics were up 2-0 after the first 40 minutes. Of course, the Raiders Junior Hockey Club able to win that one in overtime, 3-2. The semifinals start off tomorrow between the St. James Junior Canucks at home, the number 1 team in the league, taking on the number 5 team in the league in the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Puck drops at 7 p.m. at Keith Bodley Arena. And then the game 1 of the Transcona Railer Express and Pembina Valley Twisters series will be going at 3 p.m. on Sunday at East End Arena, the Ed Golding Arena there. And the St. James Junior Canucks will be playing against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club for game 2 on that day at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex at 2 p.m. Let's take a look at the stats leaders here through the first round of the playoffs. And it's actually Devin Bullock of the St. Vital Junior Victorias who ended up leading the league in playoff points here after round 1 with 11 points in 6 games played. He is a defenseman for this year's St. Vital Junior Victorias team. Curtis Luke and Kobe Campbell of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, Curtis Luke of the St. James Junior Canucks, both with 10 points. Luke with 2 less games played than Campbell, but both of those players at 10 points. Then you see here Jason Cochin with 9 points in 5 games played. League points leader this season, scoring champion in TJ Matsiushevsky with 9 points as well in 5 games played. And then you look here, Cale Price, Jack Oleksiak, and Braden Clark, all with 8 points each in the first round of the playoffs. Let's take a look now at the goaltending statistics from this year's playoffs. It is with the best numbers, the goaltender who was in net for all 4 games in the St. James Junior Canucks sweep, and Noah Gilbert with 2 shutouts, only 4 goals against in those 4 games, a 1 goals against average right now, a .955 save percentage. Absolutely tremendous in that first round. Also taking a look at Logan Enns. He had a .952 save percentage, 151 goals against average with a 3-1 record. And then you look at the rest here. Justin Powers with a .948 save percentage. A bit surprising here to see Dylan Arnold, a bit of struggles in that first round for him. A .864 save percentage for him. He was able to only win 1 game. I guess he only played 1 game. Justin Powers, the goaltender who played the most on that team. I guess, Arnold was in net for the OT loss that Transcona had in that first round. But also looking at it, Jeremy Pickle is in the top 5 for wins here, or top 5 for goals against average. I guess we'll go with wins. Yeah, he is top 5 in wins, though he's 4th in wins actually with a 3-0 record, a save percentage over .903. All the goaltenders who were near the top in wins here with over a .900 save percentage, or at the very worst, only a .900 save percentage, as you can see here in Austin Smith. But let's move into the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. And we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule here in the playoffs. And it will be, so dating back here to game 1s, Brandon up 8-1. Not up 8-1, winning 8-1 in their first game over Parkland. The Winnipeg Wild winning 4-2 over the Eastman Selects in their first game. So game 2 for both of those series going tomorrow. The Eastman Selects will be at home in Boisier to take on the Winnipeg Wild at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Parkland, the Rangers at home in Dauphin, Manitoba to take on the Brandon Wheat Kings at 7:30 p.m. CDT. The Selects and Parkland both looking to tie up the series at 1. The Wheat Kings and the Wild looking to put both teams, or their opponents, in a 2-0 hole. Take a look at the player stats here for the playoffs. Leading the way is Logan Belton of the Winnipeg Wild with 10 points in 4 games played. Following him is his teammate in Noda Zyver with 9 points in 4 games played. Braden Keeble, along with Gordon Isaac, both tied with 8 points in the playoffs at this point. Isaac Gordon playing for the Eastman Selects. Braden Keeble playing for the Brandon Wheat Kings, and Keeble has been a guest here on the network before. But Luke Misselbacher with 7 points in 4 games played, and Keith Gruner for the Winnipeg Wild with 7 points. They round out the top 5 there. We'll take a look at the goalie stats here. We'll take a look at wins, and right now it is Mason Lobro with 4 wins and 0 losses, rocking a .951 save percentage. Andrew Ness of the Winnipeg Wild with a .929 save percentage. He's 4-0 in the playoffs as well. Braden Birch Hayden for the Parkland Rangers with a 3-2 record, a .919 save percentage. Andrew Blahyi of the Eastman Selects with a 2-0 record. He has a .957 save percentage, which also ranks him the highest in the playoffs so far for that stat category. But he's 2-0, and then Ethan Penner and Nathan Braun. Nathan Braun of the Yellowhead Chiefs 1-1. Ethan Penner of the Eastman Selects is 1-1 as well. Penner with a save percentage of over 900 and 938 save percentage. Braun with a save percentage of 891. So yeah, that is going to do it for League Report, everybody. Be sure to check back here on Tuesday for the results from this past weekend from the MFHL, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, the MMJHL, as well as the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. We are going to send it to one last commercial break on this edition of the show. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for some final words after this commercial break.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions, everybody. Just got done doing this episode's edition of League Report. Yeah, happy to always fill you all in on what's going on in leagues here from Manitoba and Saskatchewan. From female hockey to junior hockey to male AAA hockey. Female AAA hockey, of course. But yeah, this is going to mark the end of tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Keep tilting my head a lot, and that's something that you guys probably don't know about me, is when I get full, I tilt my head quite a bit. I don't know what it is. It's dated back to when I was a little boy. And yeah, I don't know what it is. I ate quite a bit before the show tonight. So that is why you've kind of seen me with some indigestion bobbing my head a bit. So I'm doing fine, everybody. That's just something that's natural. But for me, at least. But yeah, this is going to mark the end of tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning in tonight. Always great to have our viewers tuning into the show, the support you give us as well. If you enjoyed tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, be sure to leave it a like, leave a comment as well. If you enjoyed it, share it if you are on Facebook, as well as on Twitter and our YouTube as well as on our website at ASTV Productions or amateursports.tv. If you like and share it on Facebook, that just not only helps us grow as a brand, but also helps the athletes, the coaches, and just the teams that we feature here on the show, help them get the recognition they deserve, right? But I want to give a special thanks here to Ava Bergman, the second guest on tonight's show, forward of the Winnipeg Ice and assistant captain, number 16 of that team, for joining tonight's edition of the show, as well as a special thanks to Eugene Kaminsky, bench boss, head coach of the Winnipeg Ice AAA team in the MFHL. And I would also, I'd like to thank him for joining as well. A special thanks to him, along with Ava Bergman, and also a special thanks to our sponsors for tonight's edition of the show in AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and TOVI Hockey for sponsoring this edition of the show. Coffee with Graeme will be returning to you, or will be returning to the network. The next time you can watch it will be next week on Tuesday. That's when this show will be returning next. So stay tuned for that all new edition of Coffee with Graeme coming up next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time, which is 10 a.m. Manitoba time. You can catch it on our network, on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our Twitter at Amateur Sports TV, or on our website at amateursports.tv or astvproductions.com. Type in one of those and it'll take you to the same place. But yeah, stay tuned for the guest list for that upcoming episode on Tuesday morning on our Instagram at ASTV Productions, on our Facebook, and on our Twitter as well. So we will be releasing who will be featured, who will be coming on Coffee with Graeme on Tuesday. We'll be releasing that guest list coming up next week on Monday at some point. But yeah, folks, until then, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now on this Thursday night until I see you all here back on the show again for Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time, just 10 a.m. Manitoba time. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there and go out and enjoy this nice weather because the snow is melting. I know here in Manitoba at least. So if it is nice where you are at, wherever you are watching the episode, go out and enjoy that nice weather. But until next Tuesday, of course, next week, folks, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, giving you the salute and the peace out here on this Thursday evening. Take care, everybody, and so long. Thanks for tuning in.